Okay, up for another fun night of enjoying a beer. I've got my new coaster I picked up last weekend down in Los Angeles from Mumford Brewing. That was a cool brewery. I think I'm gonna have to put a couple stickers up too to go with some stuff here. I stopped in Bakersfield on my way down and stopped in at Trembler Brewing. Stayed there that night. Really cool brewery in Bakersfield, so I'm gonna have to tell my friends if they're ever there to hit that place up. I've also got let's see here, so I'm gonna be pouring some Revision Brewing hops in a can. It's a triple IPA that's a hazy Northeast style, so might as well add a Revision beer sticker to the old beer fridge. And I got this one. This one's kick-ass. SlikkNikk Video Arcade. Pretty awesome. And then we got this magnet here. Also from last weekend's little fun hangout with the friends. That was pretty awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a pour. This stuff's really good, but catches up to you quick. I think it's like 10.25% or 10.3%, somewhere around there. Pretty potent stuff. Okay, so you can kind of make out in the light here the Gabrielle and James Arcade LA Hangout. Nat. Good stuff. Perfect. Delicious. Yeah, that's some good stuff. So I think I'm going to get started on the stickers here. Put my beer down. Oh, hey, it's you again. All right. Well, it's been a couple months. I don't know if you can see my shirt here. LA Hangout. So a group of us friends got together last weekend. I'm going to go ahead and turn around. Not sure if this camera angle is going to work or not. Got the LA Hangout shirt. Just a group of maybe 10 or 15 of us got together. Just wanted to go check out some friends' arcades and have a few beers, play some games. It was a good time. So, so some friends of ours on the arcade hangout invited us to go down and hang out with them. So on Friday night, we went to our friend Gabby and James' house, and I think we drank more than we played games, but it's all good. It was fun to just kind of get all caught up with everybody. Hadn't seen anybody in a while, so mostly just chatting, enjoying some good beverages. Got to play a few games. They do have an awesome collection there, so James and Gabby, thank you so much for inviting us over for the good time we had. And Gabby made sure she went way overboard, way out of her way to get some good bonuses for us, some goodies. So she got a fridge magnet to represent the weekend, and then she also got. It's kind of hard to make out in the light here. If I had a dark beer, you'd be able to see this. I think the etching on the glass, but it says LA. Let's see, Gabby and James Arcade, LA Hangout 2020, and it says Nat in the middle. So not a tournament. Well, it wasn't a tournament at all actually that night, the first night. So so perfect, right? So cheers, Gabby and James. Thank you for having us over. And then the next night, our other good friend SlikkNikk, who if you've seen my channel, I'm sure you've seen their channel or his channel. SlikkNikk Video Arcade. So he had stickers he was giving out, and he made these cool posters. He's the same as me. I love having these 11 by 17 posters to put up on the walls to kind of commemorate events and stuff. So super cool. Nick, love you, man. Awesome stuff. And Vonnie, both of you guys, gracious hosts that have had us over on Saturday night. He loves the tournament aspect of things, so that was really fun. He had a totally organized event going on there with the group of us that there were, and He even made awards. So it turns out there was, I think, 3 tournaments. There was a main tournament, a black and white tournament, and then a special bracket of Pong. And so I actually got 2nd place on the main tournament. And then the last event was the Pong event. And guess what? I was the champion. So go figure. Some people have the best luck sometimes. I don't know. It was my lucky night. But he had one of those new, it's like kind of a electromechanical servo motor driven Pong tables that it's not a monitor, not an LCD screen. They're actual physical parts that I think are floating like on a magnet or something that are sliding around. So the controls are really wacky, but it's really fun, especially when you do head-to-head, and the way he did it with bracket style. Yeah, there was probably at least 12 of us, I'd say, there that night doing that. So yeah, it was a good time. So Nick, I'll be putting these up on the wall soon. I've got frames. I just need to start other posters I need to put up as well. So we'll see. Maybe this weekend. So yeah, awesome guys. Thank you. And I guess I should put these stickers on the fridge. Why not, right? And then I've got something I want to share and talk about what my pairing is in this video. So, all right. Hopefully this came out all right. I think I'm gonna put SlikkNikk. Let's see. Put the SlikkNikk Arcade right about there, maybe. That looks like a good spot. Nice. And then we'll put Revision. I'm gonna put Revision down over here somewhere. Over here. Down here. Down here. How about here? There we go. We'll just kind of wrap it around over here next to underneath SlikkNikk. Have it curl around the side there. Why not, right? Looks good. I think so. Are there any other ones here? Oh, we got another one here. I almost forgot about it. Okay, Trembler. I think I'll put that one down here. So Trembler was in Bakersfield, California. On my way down to the LA hangout, I stayed the night there. So I just went there straight from work, and it was about a little more than halfway down, because the next morning I was picking up my buddy Leo. He brought out some Treehouse beer. I've still got a handful of those, so we'll see. Maybe I'll figure out a pairing with those. But yeah, so good times. Got to show the glass again here. Pretty sweet. What I'm pairing up this time is just party, good times. Hops in a can is good times. Party's good times. Why not? So what I did is I actually I've been talking to Vani, Nick's wife, SlikkNikk, about making a sign for him for about 2 years, and she wanted to make a surprise one for his birthday. So I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And you know, just time goes on. We only cross paths a couple times a year, and then once we confirmed we were going to go down, a group of us, and go down and hang out with them, which was last weekend, I reached out to her back in November, I think, and said, okay, let's make this happen. Let's decide on the design, the artwork, and then I'll figure out the cabinet. So yeah, so the last couple months, I've just been kind of working here and there on it, a little feverishly the last weekend, of course, doing the last little bit of touch-ups, getting the lights dialed in, finishing the corner work on the cabinet. But I made a really big light display for him that's basically based on this logo, but with a square border and red around the outside. So you'll see the video here shortly, but yeah, I'm really stoked on how it came out. I love doing those kind of interesting, unique, one-off designs, like I did a couple years ago for Grinkers. It was Grinkfest 5, the custom display I did there. So if you haven't seen it, go back and check one of my older videos. I think it was Treehouse Bright that I got from Leo when I paired that up with the custom display for Grinkers. And so this time it's just, you know, hops in a can. I had lots of hops in a can last weekend, and that's by Revision Brewing. Their stickers right here. They're not too far from me, out of Reno, about a 2-hour drive. Awesome stuff. They really make some cool beer. So this one's got quite the punch. I have to be careful. You can't have too many of these over the course of an evening. So, you know, I'm only got 2/3 of a glass in me, and I'm already, you know, feeling it. So, so anyways, I'm not sure the timing of this, so I'm going to show stuff before or after this. But yeah, so let's go ahead and, you know, cut to it, and we'll show you the video of how I made the display. I started out by modeling it in SolidWorks. It's a 3D CAD program, and then it's mostly sheet metal parts, which I actually design the sheet metal parts, and I program them and have them fabricated. And then there's, after it's fabricated, there's still some more little fabrication that needs to be done. A little bit of sanding, cleaning, painting, assembling, and then the corners to seal those up, because you don't want the light bleeding through the very corners of the display. So I basically use some black silicone filler for those corners, and that blocks the light out. So yeah, I think it came out really nice. Nick was, you know, really stoked on it, so I'm very happy that he loves it. So can't wait to see it up on his wall in his arcade. So so SlikkNikk, cheers, love you, buddy. And Vonnie, thank you for working with me on this. It was a fun project. So yeah, so all right.
that up?
If you want. Okay, so here's a little something I've been working on for the last month or so. It's going to be a surprise gift to a good friend of mine, SlikkNikk. If you've seen his videos, probably. Most likely you have. If you've seen mine, you've seen his, most likely. So it's SlikkNikk Arcade, I think is what it's called, his YouTube channel. And I've actually been talking to my other friend, his wife, about doing this surprise gift for him for a year and a half or so now, almost 2 years, that she really wanted to make him some custom cool sign, and I said I'd help out with that, no problem. So she actually purchased the artwork, which was made by This Old Game. Came out awesome. So they're really large acrylic artwork. I'll show you here in a minute, but it's a double-sided sign, very similar to the Grinkers sign I did a couple years ago. That's actually what got her asking me about it back then. After she saw that one, she's like, wow, I'd really like to make something cool for Nick. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm actually going to see him in a few days here. We're having to get together at their house. So I was going to get this all finished up because it's going to be a little surprise gift for him. I may have already showed video of this before this clip, where I created the parts in SolidWorks, and then I had the CNC punch make the sheet metal parts. So there's basically, I made enough to build two. I did the same with the Grinkfest 5 display for Grinkers, the Grinkers Grand Palace display. It's always good with all the setup and time with everything, even though it's a custom one-off, it's good to do enough to build two, and then maybe at some point I'll put one up for myself here, so with my own artwork, of course, but the same sheet metal design. So this is a totally custom display, and it's very large. So I kind of test fit the first one, assembled it, and did a little bit of tests with the lighting effects I wanted to do. So this one's kind of rough and taped together, but as you can see here, it's really big. So it's a little over 2 feet tall. The actual artwork is 2 foot by 2 foot square, and it's double-sided. So his display, or his artwork, has kind of a center section that's mostly white, with the logo that says SlikkNikk Arcade, and then he has some icons that go around that kind of like show a joystick or whatever. He has car hobby and stuff like that too, so he may have something like that with that artwork. I don't remember now. It's sitting right there. I'll look at it here in a minute. But yeah, so I wanted to do an effect, and then the outer part is mostly red. So the LED strip that's going to go in here, that points in towards the red area. My initial test I tried with the white LED lights, and it seemed to have a little bit of hot spots. And then when I tried the red, it really made the red pop. Like on coin doors, a lot of people have replaced the 25-cent backlit coin mech with the LED, and some of you guys may have tried that already. But if you try the white one, it has kind of a hot spot. But if you do red, it really pops and glows because most of them are red. So same kind of idea. So that's going to be all red on both sides around the perimeter facing in. And then on this area here, it's going to be a different LED strip that it can do actually full color, or you can set it to white, but you can do different effects where it's kind of a blinking or flashing. So I wanted to have kind of an effect like that, because on his, he has an animation when he starts, when you see the first part of his YouTube channel, where it looks like they're kind of like glowing effect on those icons that go around. So I'm going to try to recreate that with this. And then on the inside is just 2 rows of white LED strips. It's actually one strip that's long enough to wrap around twice to really make that pop. And then they'll all have a controllable remote, so you can set the brightness or lighting effects that you might want. And then on the perimeter, on top of that, you can see this sheet metal part here has the holes punched in it. So in relation to the Grinkers display I did, they were a bunch of little mini bulbs. They actually were plastic with the LED behind them, but the effect was to look like a thread-in light bulb, because the arcade that we were trying to emulate was Steve's arcade that he grew up at, which was 20 Grand Palace down in Southern California, and it was huge. The sign was maybe 4 foot by 6 foot or something, and it had full-size light bulbs that kind of chase light or had effects on it. So I tried to do the same kind of thing but miniaturized with the display that was, I think it was maybe 1.5 foot by 2 feet or something like that. A little smaller than this one. So anyways, with this one, instead of the bulbs, what I'm going to do is there's going to be diffused acrylic behind it that'll look kind of frosted, but then on the inside will be another LED strip that can do RGB, so you can control the colors and lighting effects with that. So on the 3 sides, that'll have that effect going through these, and then the one side is where you mount it. So it could actually be mounted, depending on how you reorient everything, you could mount it on a wall, projecting off of a wall so you can see both sides, which I think is what they're going to do. But if you have a sheetrock or wood ceiling or beam or something you could connect to above, you could do it above and have the lights, the chase lights, go around the sides like that. But anyway, so yeah, this is pretty heavy actually. A lot of sheet metal going on here. But so I'm going to go ahead and assemble basically similar to what you see here. So I think I have a clip of the 3D model and some of the CNC punch. This is the inner piece. So there's screws that go around the inside here to attach it to this channel that goes on the outside, and then inside that channel we'll have the RGB lights. And then there's these tabs here on the inside that when you put 2 of these back to back, kind of hard to show here, but you can kind of see, you might be able to see it on film here, how they kind of alternate. And then what goes on that, it's basically was a flat strip that I formed to a round shape, and it'll tighten up and get closer in there. But put these back down here. So this was kind of interesting part, because the tooling to form this, normally it's a roll form. So there's I believe it's all steel. There's like 3 rollers, and you can adjust the distance between those 3 rollers. And what it does is there's a crank arm on the manual one. There's a crank arm on the side, so you feed it in, almost kind of like how you would wring out clothes on the old, non-electric clothes dryer setups, where you just roll the thing and the clothes go through and it squeezes all the water out. Same kind of thing with this, but instead of squeezing the water out, it turns the sheet metal into a curve. And so you just turn that crank, and the part just keeps rolling around and having that curve. And you just kind of gently have a little bit of tension on it, so you slowly start forming it to this. But I didn't have access to that tooling, so I just kind of made this work. I found a steel ring that was close to the right size, that was kind of thick. I think it was actually a table on a drill press, real thick metal. So I just kind of bent and formed it around that, put a couple clamps on, and just kind of leaned on it. It's not that, it's really flexible, but it still didn't quite get it. So then what I wound up doing was I put a ratchet strap around this, and then I just kept ratcheting it and over bending it to try to get that round shape. It's not perfect. I mean, you can see the kind of bends because where the slots are for mounting it, it tends to want to, that's the weak point, so it tends to want to do a little bit of faceting there. But once it's in there and the lights are on it and the marquee's on, you can't tell that this is not perfectly round, so it's fine. It'll be fine. And then I have a rubber gasket that wraps around and presses on here, so that way when the marquee goes on, it kind of touches that, comes into contact with that, because you don't want the sheet metal, because it'll flex a little just with contraction, expansion of the heat of the room, summertime, wintertime, whatever. The marquee will kind of bow a little bit and come in contact with that. So I didn't want that to start, wearing away the artwork. So by doing this, that helps prevent that, and also help block the light. So there'll be a strip in this area here for that kind of chase effect inside there. But you can kind of see what's going on here. So yeah, and then I can kind of route the wiring into this. There's a cavity here between these two plates. It's kind of hard to show it, but I'll be able to wrap the cabling through that, and then I'll probably just custom trim, drill, or cut a slot in the side, because this will wind up, I actually have the other ones done and they're painted right now, and I had to do a little bit of touch up, so they're just drying, the ones that I painted black. Let's see here, just so I can show you. So this is the piece that goes around the outside. So it kind of goes around like this. But what'll sandwich in between here will be a diffused acrylic strip. So there'll be the LED light strip pointing out, and then the frosted acrylic panel on there, and then this goes over the top of that. And then the marquee on the outside, this will wrap, the edges will wrap around the front of that. I already test fit one, so, but yeah, so you can kind of see what's going on there. And then the side that mounts on the wall, mounts to the wall or ceiling. Let me get it apart here. So this piece is the one that would mount to the wall. So let's say if this is the surface that's mounting to the wall, you can see there's your keyed slots. So you just have an anchor on the wall with a screw coming off. So you have the head of the screw that pops through that. So you just kind of slide the head of the screw through there, and then it slides down and locks in place on the keyhole there. So that's the side that all the cabling will route through inside this cavity here, because there won't be an acrylic lens or a light strip there. Just the wiring is going to come down there and come out the bottom. So that's, let's see, yeah, you can see this notch here at the bottom. So that way I can route the wiring through there. I'm going to try to keep it to where there's only one wire coming out, and then the one wire is going to split into 3 or 4 wires, because there's really 4 LED strips in here, and depending on how I wind up getting all those connected, I believe the outer strip is going to be its own controller, and then this inner strip will be its own controller, the remote to do brightness or chase effects, and then the white ones that are on the inside and the red ones that are on this part here, those will tie in together. So there'll basically be 3 remotes to control each one. So I'll have to just test to make sure. They do, if you're not careful, you can cross the frequencies, but it's not that hard to reset it. We'll see. So, but first step, I just need to get this thing assembled, and then I need to go through and clean all the surfaces that you attach the LED strips to, because there's a little bit of oil film and metal dust on all the surfaces just from the manufacturing process. So you just want to wipe it super clean. I think it's acetone is what I have. I just use acetone and a rag. Just wipe it all clean and dry, and then that way when you peel and stick these LED strips, they should adhere and stay on there for the future. So all right, well, I was going to also talk about, let's see, so the screws, I'll probably show some close-up shots of this when I'm assembling. But these are, I work with fabricating sheet metal parts a lot, so these screws are actually designed to be self-threading. So this is it's a sheet metal screw to self-thread into holes. So this hole here was not threaded, and then when I put the part on it, it just has a pilot hole for this to go in, and then it forms the thread. You don't want to have your screwdriver, if you're using an electric screwdriver, you got to have one that you can set the torque setting relatively low, and I'll show that to you. But you basically start on the lowest setting, and then start setting the torque a little bit higher until the screw comes all the way goes all the way seated up. But I have flathead screws, so they're flush when it's all assembled. So these are actually undercut flathead screw to match the thickness of the sheet metal, because otherwise it would have to be almost a 1/4 inch wall or 3/16 for it to not require a undercut screw. The undercut just gives it that clearance so it doesn't bottom out on the mating part before it tightens the actual assembly together. So anyways, these are stainless steel. I went ahead and I've already painted those. I think there's about 48 of them. So all these ones here, I just went through, rattle can sprayed them all. So those are the ones that are going to go all the way around on the two sides. The interior ones don't need it. Just keep them stainless to do the assembly. So let's see. Oh, and then what I did do, so on these parts, I just spray painted them by hand. I didn't powder coat them. It's a little expensive to do that, so I'm trying to do this on the low budget since I'm kind of donating all my own time on this and everything. So anyways, when I sprayed them, I sprayed the inside first, which you really don't have to spray inside here, but just to get this edge and the sides. And then once that was dry, or I thought it was all the way dry, then I flipped it over and spray painted the outside. Well, it wasn't 100% cured. They typically say at least 24 hours, maybe even up to a week to get a full cure on paint, but it was only a couple hours. So, but it wasn't tacky to the touch, but it was still curing. So when I pulled it up from the surface, there was a few spots that the paint pulled. So this is actually a paint pen for doing that kind of touch up. So it looks just like a marker, but when you first get it when it's brand new, it's white because the paint isn't in there, and you just kind of shake it, just kind of like rattle can spray paint. And then when you press down, this is almost like on a spring load, that it opens up a gap inside there to allow the paint to get into the tip of the. It's kind of a felt tip on this, so basically just like a marker. And then I just went down the edge on the spots. There was just a few spots on each one that I had to kind of touch up, so you wouldn't see the silver edge. Because once it's all on here, when it's assembled, you might be able to see that edge. So I just wanted to make sure that was all touched up. But the inside really doesn't matter. It's all covered. But okay, so that's that. Yeah, so here's the, I just have DeWalt cordless drills, but there's torque setting on here. So you can set it all the way to the torque setting 1. See how it kind of, you can just hold it and the torque there. So it's really low torque, but then you just, adjust this to where it can bottom out the screw. I mean, you can do it by hand too, but you start getting sore because there's probably 100 screws or so to do all this, almost 100 screws. So, anyways, yeah, that works really well. Comes in handy. And then now I'll just show kind of a quick shot of the. There we go. Let's see, is this upside down? Yes. So there we go. It's in a plastic bag, but it's beautiful. It's really awesome. So there's 2 of these. So one goes on each side. And then, like I said, the red area has the red LED strip that'll glow inwards. And then right here at this edge of the black ring is where we're going to have the light strip here to do kind of a chase effect. And we could set that to do colors also, or just white. We'll mess around with it, see what looks good, and ultimately it's going to be Nick's decision of how he wants his effect. And then on the inside part is this double row here of white LEDs. So yeah, double row of white LEDs to do the inner part, a single row on each side to do this kind of chase effect, and then a single row on each side of the red out here. And then on the very outside will be the RGB that can do glowing or chase light type effects. So yeah, came out awesome. This whole game did a great job on it. So, and I'm also working on my other marquee light boxes. I've been sitting on them for a while, so I'm gonna try to get some more of them done, but I'll show you real quick. So kind of to match my shirt, about a year and a half ago at Grinkers we did a tournament called the Whack Off, kind of a play on words of the Kong Off, but with the game Wacko. So this is the lower part of the box, and this is actually a newer design, call it Rev 1.0. So I'll show the differences between the my first Rev design and this Rev. But yeah, it basically it's going to have a pocket in the back to route wiring, so it looks kind of clean. It doesn't create any shadows. But yeah, I'll show you that. But alrighty, so I'm going to kind of look around the camera here, see if I can get this right. So we can see here, there's some countersinks here, and that's what these screws are going to go into. So here's the sheet metal screw. Let me see if I can get it to focus on it. So there you can kind of see it. So it's got a little bit of a flat underneath there. That's the undercut part to account for the thinner sheet metal. And then you can kind of see the thread, how it's got a little bit of a step down at the front, and that's what goes into the, so it's going to thread into this. Let's see if I can get this to focus. So right here, that's just a pilot hole right now. So this is going to form a thread into that after it goes through. So we got the countersink on here. See if I can get this to focus right. So we got a countersink there. So then that goes flush when it threads in, because that's where I'm going to have an LED strip. The red LED strip is going to go around this surface on all four sides. And then here we got a tab that goes inwards, and that's what that strip that's formed around the inside is going to attach to. So I guess I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. It's a little awkward the first couple setting up. But we'll see here. And then I'm not sure on the torque setting. I'm going to put it to like 5 for now. And it's not magnetic, so it'll want to fall out. So I'm just going to kind of put it in there. So the front part of that screw dropped in there. I'm at a little bit of an angle here, but it's all right. Once it goes down there and seats in, it'll be fine. So here we go. So see, the torque isn't high enough. So that was at 5. Let's go to 8. There we go. That was perfect. So it went down, it seated, and then it hit the torque. So that's our first screw there. I'll see if I can get this to focus on it. Let's see here. There we go. So you can kind of see the screw there. So it's flush now. So then I'll just be going along. If you can kind of see there. See how it's not all the way seated yet. So there's basically 4 screws on each of these panels on each side. So there's 16 screws going around the perimeter of this one. And then we have the other side, 16 screws on the perimeter of that. And that's just to attach the channel around the outside of this. So yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, there's no need to like rush it and set the torque up too high and then you wind up stripping stuff. I just try to make sure the screw is as squared up, like I'm not coming in at too crazy of an angle. But you know, the head of this isn't perfect, so it is at a little bit of an angle, but it's fine. Let's see here. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side onto this. So, and the way I designed this was these tabs are kind of offset at angles. So there's a total of 8 of them to do the circle, and so I just set a angle. I don't remember what it was now. 360 divided by 8, is that right? Something like that, I don't know. Yeah, so you can see these. Oh, maybe you can't quite see those ones. Scoot over here a little bit. So you can kind of see how this one is on this side, and then this one's on the other side, and then that one's on this. So they kind of alternate halfway in between. Okay. Okay, so we got one side on here. You can see this channel now. So you can see the threads coming through the screw. The LED strip's going to be right up in the middle, so that doesn't interfere with it at all. And then approximately the width of this is going to be the width of the acrylic piece that's going to go on there that's defrosted. So I have one side on. You know, that was 8 screws. So I just got to go on to the next side and just keep continuing around. Let's see here. Again, you know, this was all custom designed, kind of a one-off prototype, essentially, just like I did with the Grinkers one. You know, I really enjoy doing this stuff for friends of mine, especially ones that have supported our hobby. You know, Grinkers, of course, they host the Grinkfest parties every year. And then SlikkNikk, he's always been a good supporter. Goes to every event. He sponsors stuff, throwing in cash into the pool or stickers. Or this last year, he actually purchased, I think, 3 of those bit kits for the bit kit challenge. So, good times. I mean, if I, you know, I basically donated my time and the materials for this and all that. So, but you know, if I was to do this as a actual selling product, a one-off like this, all in, I'd probably want upwards of $1,000 for the whole thing, because it's a lot of hours and time. So the marquees were close to $200 for those 2. They're both custom, so that's, you know, that's a chunk of money in itself. Yeah, because they're big. They're almost like they're the size of 3 normal marquees on each side, with, you know, custom artwork. So you're basically getting 6 marquees for $200. Okay. And, you know, prices vary, but I got a little better discount than that, but in that general neighborhood. I'm not sure how well this is capturing everything, but I don't know if I'm going to show it in real time when I edit this, or just cut out parts or fast forward, play it in quick mode. I don't know. Okay, second side done. So, you know, with this kind of screw design with the self-threading, as long as you're careful with it, you can disassemble and reassemble multiple times. But if it was something like you constantly had to rebuild stuff, you'd probably want to actually do their threaded inserts that are steel, and then it's a lot more durable. But it's at a cost. Let's see here. Okay, I've got 3 sides done. Oh, this thing's getting heavy. Okay. I mean, I don't know if this is... Let me see if I can just kind of zoom in just for the heck of it so you can see one up close. So, which one is that? It's that one. Right here? Yeah. So, I'll kind of do that one up close. This one here, yeah. You can kind of see my hands are getting kind of this slimy aluminum dirty surface. That's what you have to clean before painting, before putting LED strips on any of that. So here we go. It's just a quick, and it's in and flush. Okay. Okay, so now we got the perimeter all on there. Let's see if I can kind of show this up close. So if you can kind of see the screw there sticking through. But yeah. So we got 32 screws in. Now we got to do this round part. The inner shroud, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. So with the sheet metal here, I put a slot in it just to account for, you know, just giving it a little bit of flex and movement, because to try to line up something perfect on a curve like that is actually really difficult. So putting the slots in there, just give it enough of that play. So, you know, I'm thinking what I want to do is wherever this gap is here, I probably want to do that kind of towards the bottom of the display. And then, so if this is the bottom of the display, then any wiring that comes off of this will go into that slot and then run over into this cavity here. I don't know. I haven't decided. Well, shoot. Because actually I think what I want to do is, if this is, now that I think about it, if this is the side that goes against the wall, then I basically want to run all the wiring up to that corner. That everything that goes on this whole perimeter, inside and outside, in the ring, outside the ring, we can run some of it into this slot here. Everything that's on the inside and outside of this ring will route in through that cavity in there to the corner. And then the red that runs around that perimeter here, that's where I'm going to probably have to notch it a little bit there on that corner. And then the one that goes around the outside will basically start at the bottom edge, come all the way around up to the top corner, and then where they all connect in will be in this cavity over here. So I think that's actually what I want to do, is kind of do it like that. So So I'll just kind of flex this around enough. So I had to trim it a little. My calculation was off just a little bit because this it's not perfect. You know, if you can kind of see here, there's a little bit of flat spots in it. And when we do the calculations on our software at my work, the SolidWorks software, it doesn't account for any imperfections. It forms it perfect to that round, and if it was perfectly round, what I had it at would have been just about right. But this is actually going to wind up having a little bit of a gap once it's done mounting, I believe. So let's see here. So I'm going to try to put it in the middle of the slot. I don't know if you can see that there. Let me see if I can try to zoom in. So you see that the hole in there is about in the middle of the slot. That's why I'm going to just start there, roughly opposite side of where the seam is, and have it about in the middle of the slot because it's going to grow and shrink a little bit as it goes around. So, and I may not tighten it down all the way either, but let's get one started. So it's not all the way tight. Then I'm just going to kind of make sure and get them all in place. See here. So you're not really gonna be able to see this. Let's see if I can. So there's the screw in that one, but then there's one up here. Not sure if you can see it, that angle. There we go. So you can see it's kind of in the middle of that slot, but I'm just gonna keep working my way around on those. Work my way around here. So let's see. Probably hard to see this, but it is starting to get a little bit off center now. Like I said, it kind of grows and shrinks a little. At one point I was considering trying to 3D print something for this ring, which would have been, you know, really precise, but the amount of plastic for 3D printing that would have been insane, doing a ring this size. So I may wind up drilling this seam on the sheet metal here, allow the wiring to come through because it's actually pretty tight, but let's see. So that's really not thick enough for running the wiring through, so I'll probably just run a drill. I'll just do a little sheet metal drill hole, enough to route the wiring through there. So here you can see the gap there with the wires. Like I had just roughly taped all this in place, so I had everything all plugged into the same power wire into one, just for testing it. But this gap here is probably almost a 1/2 inch, but you can see the rubber here that covers over there, and then once the LED strip goes around the outside here, you're not even going to see it. So this one's the one I'm going to be keeping anyway. So but yeah, so zoom this out here. So there we have the first part of that assembly. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'm gonna kind of check the wires and see how big of a hole I should put in places, and then because this is the corner here, this is the side that's going to mount to the wall, and this will be the top edge of that. So I want the wiring from this seam here to go in between in that cavity, and it'll come over here, and then it needs to come out on this corner. So I need to have a clearance hole there for the wiring to come out, and a clearance hole inside here to route that through. But the the other wiring that's going to go around here, the red one, it'll basically start and end here. It's actually long enough to do both sides, so I might put in a couple of clearance slots, and I'll start on one side, go all the way around, and then jump across to this side, go all the way around, and then it comes out, or where the incoming power will come in up this way, I guess. So there'll be kind of a few wires grouped inside this cavity, which is the side that goes against the wall. So, all right, nice and greasy aluminum dust all over my hands. But you can see how this is kind of it looks a little flat here. That edge there. But again, once it's all together, maybe I should put a little bit of a bend in this. There we go. You see how that opened up that screw? Huh. All right, let's try this again. There wasn't enough torque to get the sheet metal to seat. Okay. All right, so I got the step drill in here, and I have it set to the drill setting. But like you can see, as I mentioned before, there's torque settings on here. You could go anywhere from 1 all the way up to 16, it looks like. And then drill is just full on drilling. So I'm going to attempt to get away with this. I might mess this up, but we'll just see what happens. Now it's on the seam, so it kind of trying to walk its way out of there. Well, that didn't quite work out the way I was hoping it would, but I'll see if I can start another hole. So this is going to be the top left of the display, so that's going to be the top left corner. So I'm going to drill some holes through there. Well, let me see. Let me check the wire real quick. Maybe I can get away with this. I don't know if we can see it there. So this would be effectively the wire I need to get through there. Yeah, it's too tight. Just not quite big enough. So I think I'm just going to drill a couple holes here. So, I have some cleanup here to do. See if I can fit that through there. There we go. So now you can see that it comes through there. I just did the hole big enough to allow for that wire to go through. Because once I get it through there, then that's when I'll connect the appropriate connector. So I have to do one there, one in the middle, and one on the other side. Yeah. Okay, so real quick here, what I decided to do was do a little extra drilling because it's going to make it a lot easier to route this this way. I'm gonna go ahead and take the camera off here. Come on. Okay, so you can see here I drilled a hole there. That way I can route that from one side to the other. That's going to be for the red LED strip. And then I can route it out here on the sides at the top corner. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and sand it. I have to clean it all up. I should have done this outside. I don't like having a bunch of aluminum chips in my arcade. But yeah, so yeah, I just went ahead and drilled that through both sides. That way I could route the, that's the white there. No, that's the red. So that way I can, it's going to go around this edge here will be the red, and then it dives in there, goes to the other side, goes all the way around all four sides, and then it can come back out probably here, and then go down the side that's going to contain all the wires. And then the middle hole here I made a little bigger. That's the wiring that's going to come through. That's the interior rings, which is going to be both the one that has kind of a blinking chasing effect on this side, and then the one that's just going to be white on that side. And those will tuck through. So I can't see. There we go. Through this hole here. So okay. Just gonna give you a heads up for reference. You won't see any of that once it's all put together. Also, a little hole in the corner on the inside of it. So, alrighty. Okay, so here we are back. I cleaned it all up, wiped it all down with acetone, and sanded these holes here. Kind of sanded the inside. Tried to deburr it as much as I could in order to route the wiring through. So it should be good. I have the bottom taken off, or this is the wall mounting side, I think. That way it's all open for routing the wires through, and then I'll reattach the screws. And I'm just going to use my hand screwdriver on that now that these holes have been threaded. Actually, it's the other part that's threaded, wherever it's at. Okay, so I'm going to set up the camera and then just kind of show how I'm going to get the lights all working in there. Cool. Alright, so I just want to verify which wire I'm putting where before I start installing. And I believe this is the white one. Let's just see here. Yeah. So that is the white that's going to go on the inside. And then I figure I might as well prep this. Get a little extra wire on here. Okay. Okay. So let's loosen this up. So I don't know if you can see that there. The positive's on the right, which is the red. Tighten these down. Okay, it's in there nice and secure. And this should be red. There we go. So the red is going to go all the way around the outer edge here, and so we'll work on that next. But we'll start with the white, the inner one, the one that's going to go inside here. I think I kind of want to work on the inside, start on the inside and work my way out. So it's going to be the white one there, and then this one on the outer facing one. I'm trying to think here. Just wondering if I want to drill a hole through on that one like I did the other one. I think so. I think I want to do the same drill. The same how I did the hole here. I did this hole down here. I think I want to do the same there. So that way the wiring that goes around the outside here can go through there to the other side and come back out. Yep, I think I need to do that. Well, I'm going to take that off camera, set that up, clean it up, deburr it, and then I'll be back. Okay, so before I do the drilling, I just wanted to kind of go over these wires again, what I'm doing, the plan anyways. So out of the shot here, you can see the wire here at the very top of the screen. That's the power coming in from the power supply. It's a brick about that big. Yeah, about the size of a, I don't know, an unopened package of butter. Okay, so that power supply will go down, near the wall or on the floor or something, and then I have I believe it's a 10-foot extension here that can go up to the display, and then so we can just kind of plug this in here. I'm just leaving it all wrapped up for now, and then this wire here would go up inside the bracket that's on the wall side to kind of tuck in there. And then here's a splitter. So this is a three-way splitter. So our power can come in, and I think the general rule of thumb for each LED strip, these are 16 footers or 16.4 foot, something like that. It doesn't require any more than about 2 amps. So it's I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm going to have 4 LED strips. So that would be maybe 8 amps. And I think the power supply I have is, I think it's 12 amp. As long as you exceed, yeah, it's 12 volt. I'm trying to read here. I believe it's 12 volt, 12 amp. So anyways, so that will go from the power supply to the cord, this 10-foot extension cord, and then into a splitter, and this would all be, this whole section here from here up would all be tucked inside and hidden. At least that's the plan anyways. So then each LED strip, I don't remember offhand right now, but I'll know once I plug them in. One of these is red and another one is white. I'm gonna guess this one here that looks kind of yellowish is gonna be the white one, just from recollection. And then those, the wires, they come with these ends that you can either solder or crimp on a connector. So there's these connectors that I got. I've actually had these for a while. they're just a little set screw in there that you just insert the wire in and then hold the set screw on, and then there's your plug. And there's a female and male version depending on what you need to do with your application. And in this case, our incoming power is male connections. So what I did was put the female on there. So that would be, I think this would power up. Yeah, see, there's the red. That's what I thought that one was, the red in the background. I'm just barely giving it some power there, not even plugging it in all the way. And then that's the white one. And then, I'm not sure what this one is. That's also white. And then over here, these are the RGB ones that can control full color. And then there's these remotes. I got multiple remotes just to kind of experiment around with different things. One of these is meant to be single color. I believe that's this one. So this one here. So actually, what I'm going to want to do, because I'm going to have 4 lines or 4 LED strips. I have another splitter. Let me go grab that. I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a minute and we'll come back. Okay, so I got the other one. So this is a, I've actually had a few of these for a while. It's a 1 to 2 splitter. So I'm going to go from the 1 to 3 splitter because I want that to control both of them actually. Let's see here. So that one goes, this is going to be the controller for the red and the white. I can do this right here. So that's the controller goes out, and then that controller gets split into 2, which those 2 will control the red and the white. So let's see if I can get this to work. I've tested this out already, but I just kind of wanted to show it again. Oh, and then by the way, it is important that you get this on the correct. Oops, we got unplugged here. Okay. Oh, we can fix that real quick. So both these slid out. So it's probably hard to see this. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There is a positive marking there and a negative marking, should I say. So I believe red is the red is the positive, the power, and then the black is the negative or neutral. I don't know how you want to loosen these real quick. So I may actually strip a little more off of this housing because these are really small leads that are on here when I go to finish this. But for the initial testing here, I'm just going to try to get it working as is. And that didn't stay in there. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, now those are in there. So, try to set these up so I can see them. Okay, so we got this is the controller here. It's a radio frequency, so you don't have to have direct line with it. There are some other controllers that they are infrared. So infrared, you need to have a line of sight. There'll be a sending unit and a receiving unit that need to be able to have in line with each other. But this one doesn't. The radio frequency, it can be blocked because I want this to be all tucked away inside the controller. So if I turn this on, hopefully it does turn on both the red and the white. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. So there's the red and the white, and then I can turn down the brightness on both. So that red and white is going to be, the white's going to be the inner ring here, and the red is going to be the outer part of the square to backlight the red section. So again, I can turn up the brightness, turn it down. There's modes if we wanted to do this kind of effect where it can glow. So both those will do the same thing. You can change the speed. We can just set the brightness automatically to 25% or 50% or 100%, like default settings. Let's see, so there's different modes. So that's kind of the glowing, and then there it's kind of a slower fade in and out. Oh, what is that one doing? I think it's just a really slow. Is that one flashing? So that one's flashing. They're probably just different speeds of the flashing. But again, you don't have to have direct line of contact with this. Like, I can have it under the table. I'm controlling it from behind the metal and under the table and stuff. So you, so anyways, like here's, I'll put it to 100% brightness. Oh, wait, wrong one. That's 100%, then 50%, then 25%. So yeah, anyway, so that's that one. Like I said, this is the controller I'll have to mark. Although it's pretty obvious because this does not do any color effects. This basically just sends power or signals to whatever solid color it is. So that's going to be that one. Then these ones here, I have two of these strips. These are the same because of the way it's controlled. It seemed like that was going to be the best setup and the most cost-effective one. They're actually outdoor rated ones, so they have this kind of silicone covering on it, which isn't necessary for this, but it'll be fine. So this one has a different type of connector because it has 4 wires to do the RGB controlling. So that one would be, so I have a couple different options on those RGB ones. So like this one here even says RGB. So yeah, this is one I had open already. So we'll set that up. And it's the same kind of thing. It's got the RF controller. So we'll plug that in. There's arrows on this that indicate. So this one has, because you don't want to plug it in backwards. So it's probably hard to make out, but there is an arrow on this side, and then there's a red arrow here. So you want to make sure those are connected properly. See if I can get this on here. Okay. So then that one will be one of these other powers inlets. Okay. So this one actually has color numbers on it, or color buttons, whereas this one, same kind of deal. I got a few different ones to try out. So this is, I think, the one I just tried out to begin with. So let's power it on. So this one might be what I have set for the ring here that goes behind those icons, but I can turn down the brightness. And then there's modes. So let's turn it. So that one's kind of flashing between colors. So if I want to make it just white, that's essentially white there. Let's see here. So that's kind of a flashing of the white. That one's alternating between colors. So it can do crazy effects like that. So I just got to tinker with the settings. Like that's probably the one that I might do right there. And you can slow down the speed on that. So that might be the one I do behind the icon. So it's white and it's just kind of glowing, coming and going, glowing on the outside. Turn down the brightness. Well, maybe there is no brightness setting on that. Let's see here. Mode. Color. Mode. So yeah, I mean there's so many settings on this thing. Okay, so let's turn that off. So then the other one, so this might be the ring one that I set to white and it glows, the outer part of the ring, should I say. And then this one here, this one's the one I had open already. So this one actually has, you can set colors, that are relatively close to what you see in the dots there. So plug that one in here. Again, you got to watch and make sure that there's a arrow on here. I don't know if you can kind of see it there, maybe not. And then there's a mating arrow there. So you just got to make sure you don't put it on backwards. So I believe it can fry the signal or the traces. So let's see what happens when I turn this one on. So see, it turned on the other. Did it affect it? No, it didn't. So this one we could go just to white. And then let's see, we can do a strobe, fade. So this one, okay, so this one can also affect the other ones. So see, so these signals, these radio frequency signals can cross over. So that's adjusting those and not, so it looks like red and green are backwards. Let's just do this one to use that one. So we could do this fade effect where it's got the colors. This one's the one that could be on the perimeter. Let's turn this one off. So see how this one has like fades, and we can turn up and down the brightness, I think. Let's see. So there's like a blinking. Let's see if we can turn down the brightness here. Oh, that's the speed. Interesting. So anyways, I'll be messing with these different ones, looking at the options. So we can power that one on, power that one on. Let's see if we turn that one to that would be the white, and then we could do the mode where that one just kind of glows. So that one could be the outer ring, and then this one would be the chase light around the perimeter. So this one here would be the ring that does the icons. The red does the outer part of the square part. The white does the inner part of the ring. And then this would be the very outside on the three sides. So yeah, anyways, it's just kind of messing with the options on it. This is one version I'm showing here. And of course it does have the ability to, it would probably affect other ones. That seemed to work. So anyways, 3 different remotes, 4 different light strips broken up into one wire that comes out to one power supply, and it's all remotely controlled with power buttons and stuff, so you don't have to worry about plugging and unplugging stuff. So let's turn all this off. So yeah, there's lots of wires to shoehorn in here. We got these. So most of this, what we see here in my hands here, is all going to be routed up in that cavity, and then others might, come out there too to connect. So okay, so that's that. Now, as far as drilling the holes for the clearance of the routing the wires, I think I'm just going to go with this one. This is a step drill that works pretty well with sheet metal. It also works with plastics and stuff, but if you can kind of see it there, it has these different steps and notches in the drill, and so you'd only be able to do up to so thick on each step, but it works pretty well with working with sheet metal. It doesn't want to like grab and yank the whole thing through, because it'll kind of grab and then it hits the next shoulder to kind of stop, so you can kind of, gives you a chance to adjust the hole size. But I think I'm going to want to go with probably the largest size here to have this building. Okay, so let's look at this again. So I went ahead and drilled this hole here and deburred it, took all the sharp edges off. That's gonna, let's see, find the wire here. So this part here needs to be able to shoehorn through there. So it does barely fit. I didn't want to go too large with that hole. I can wiggle it and get it to go. So anyways, I'm going to do that one after the first one in the middle. So let's see here. Let's see, just to make sure again, this one should be the white. Yep, that's the white. And this one here would be the red. So let's see here. So this one's the first one. I'm going to go ahead and remove the adapter. Let's see here. So what I need to do is make sure I have enough length to get me all the way up over here. I don't know if you can see it. So I want it to be able to come down here so I can connect all the wires in this section here. So let's see here. So that should be good there. Can't quite see it. Okay. So that's enough there for me to secure that. And I'm sure, actually I'm gonna give it a little extra. This will be plenty long enough to do 2 rows inside here. So let's see here. Getting close here. So let's see. I'm not sure where the cut line is. I need to zoom in on that. So it's every third one, so it is where those copper traces are at. So right there I can cut it. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can light it up. Let's see. So let's see if I can fix this. Okay. So I got plenty of extra back here, but I just want to do 2 rows. Hopefully I didn't mess that one up there. Kind of kinked. Okay. So let's see here. The red's on the positive on the right there. Good connection. Look at that, nice and bright. Woo! Okay. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. So right here is where I want to cut it. On that copper line there. Trimmed it maybe a little close, but should be okay. I can retrim this, just lose this piece. Okay. now we got all this extra here. A few feet. Might be able to use it on something. The other side has wires I can connect to if I want to run some other strip. Let's see here. So I do want to just plug this thing in again, maybe. Take a look. So I got this hanging out the side here, and now this is going to be basically 100% brightness, so super bright. But out of curiosity, I want to see. I'm not going to remove it from the plastic. I just kind of want to lay it over it, give an idea of how it's going to look. Yeah, see? Right there in the middle. Killer. That's going to look awesome. Okay. Okay, on to the next step. All right, now that we have the inner ring done and the wires set out there, ready for that next step, I want to do the outer ring. And so I think I want to just test this real quick. I'm going to go through the controller in this one. Again, you got to line up the arrows. So it's saved its setting. It just kind of does the glowing in and out white. I don't know if I can turn down the brightness. No, it's just going to be bright. So we'll just see. We'll see how it comes out. Okay. So you can see this. This is just a sleeve that goes over there, and these are the wires that are soldered on to the connector. So I'm thinking actually I'll keep that separate so I don't accidentally damage it while I'm trying to force that part through the hole. But trying to think of how I want to do that. It's like I think I want to, let's see. I'm gonna have to wind up unraveling the entire thing. So if I go and route this in first, let's see here. Kind of wondering if I should do it this way. See, I can get this to tuck in here to go out, and then when it comes all the way around, maybe I'll tuck it in and wrap the other way and come all the way around, and then it'll cross it and then go in there on the hole to go to the other side, and it goes all the way around over there, and then I clip it on that end. But I want to make sure this wire is out here where I need it first. So I'm kind of thinking I want to undo the screw here so I can kind of flex this out a little. Maybe I'll undo both those screws. Just by hand. Let's see. So yeah, see now I have that flex there. So again, I'm gonna want it to hang, scoot this way out here. I'm gonna want this to hang way out here to give me enough space to go over here and then route it in, go all the way around, and then go through the hole and then route it all the way around the other side. So I just want to make sure this is going to come out here so I can connect all this stuff. Let's see here. So I think if I start on this side, hard to see this, even for me to see it. Okay. Give myself a little bit more. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. So now I want to reattach these screws just to make sure this is all seated down. Okay. Okay. So now that's on there. Let's see here. So I'm just kind of keeping it down against there because the rubber strip's going to come up over here. I just want to make sure it's plenty far enough away from it. I'm only gonna be able to do this for another half hour maybe. Wife and I are going out with some friends, and one friend said it's a good time, but there's some 80s rock cover band called Skid Roses. So we're gonna go out to dinner, group of 8 of us, and then go see Skid Roses. Let's see here. So I got to unravel this whole reel and then plunge it through there to go down to the other side. Well, let's see how this works. I think I want to twist that around that way. Okay. Oh, come on. So I'm not sure if I'm able to get to the red one before I have to leave, but we'll see. At least get this one finished up. So maybe I'll trim this long enough to go back in there. Yeah, I wind up, whenever I make a light box, I have a new strip, and I always wind up with some drop, whether it's a few inches or a few feet. So at some point I'll figure out something to put all these together with. Okay. Okay, so there's the white one, and then I do the others right here, and there's the one on the outside that's doing the glowing. So seems to be working pretty good. 25%. So I want to see what this looks like with the marquee on it. So the idea there is, see, the middle part stays solid white and the outside has kind of a glow effect. But that's going to be contrasted with the red that's going to be going around the perimeter. But it gives kind of a neat effect, right? I think it looks pretty cool. So the red is what we're going to do next out here. Let's see. There's the red. going to keep it justified towards the bottom. Again, so I can disassemble if I have to for some reason. Okay. So I got to unravel this. Okay. Okay. Now let's see how that looks. So the red really pops on the outside now, and we get a little bit of a glow effect with the ring. It goes from white to red because the red bleeds over when it calms down, and then we just have solid white on the inside. Okay, well, I'm pretty happy with that. This is a good quitting point, so all right, woo! Try to finish this tomorrow. Okay, so I'm using stainless steel sheet metal screws for the assembly, but on the outside I want them to match the painted color of the trim. So I'm going to just use this same here. So I got a Rust-Oleum paint and primer, semi-gloss black. It doesn't take much to cover this. Get a little bit around here. There we go. So I got some other parts I got to clean and prep. I'll do that here shortly. But yeah, just let this dry for now. Cool. Live and learn. So what I'm going to do now is I got to prep these. You can see in the background there the screws I painted. So now I'm going to prep this for paint. So I just use some acetone, clean it up. So I just wipe down all the surfaces. Just try to get as good as I can. The cleaner you can get this, the better the paint will stick. Just gonna go through and wipe all these down. So you can see all the aluminum dust there, it's cleaning up, and dirt and grime. So I prefer to paint the side you don't see first, so the inside, and the finishing paint goes on the side that's more cosmetic. So okay, not really gonna see any of this when it's done. Okay. Dead. So I'll just make sure this all dries really well. Then probably tomorrow we'll come back and flip it all over, paint the other side, and then should be good with the painted part. All right. Okay, so I got my microphone plugged in here. So had overnight for it to dry. The finish is not exactly the best on the inside, but that's all right. No one's gonna see it. What's on the outside is what matters a little more. And even then, with the lights in the game room, you're not even really gonna see little flaws on that. So let's see here. So again, I'm just using this Rust-Oleum paint and primer, satin black. I got somewhat okay coverage on the sides, but I'll get that a little bit better. Okay, here we are next day. I decided to put a zip tie around here to hold the strip in place, the LED strip on both sides. So just kind of drilled a couple holes there to wrap it around. It's not the prettiest, but that's the kind of little custom things that wind up happening on stuff like this, you know, prototypes. So I've got the wires all coming out here. That's the full color strip. That's actually this one going around the outside here. That it might only be set to white, but can do colors if we want. And then over here, those are the two lines for the red going around the outer perimeter, and then the white going around the inside of the ring. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in just to kind of test real quick, and then I'm gonna be putting these rubber gaskets, the trim gaskets around the edge of this sheet metal ring here. So, alrighty. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick just plug-in test of this. Actually, I have these plugged in already, and we'll just go ahead and try out these remotes as another test. I always like to keep testing this stuff. So I don't want to get too far and something's messed up, and then I gotta, disassemble a bunch of stuff. So, okay, so let's see here. This remote here is the one that says color on it. So that's the one that controls this, the outside of this ring here. And then this one here is just single color that you can set the brightness, or there's default at 25, 50, 100%. There are some lighting modes on it, I guess, too, but that controls the inner part of the ring that's white, and then what's facing inwards of the outer part of the square shape. So let's go ahead and turn on the color one first. So that one has kind of a glow effect, and then the other one's super bright. So it looks red right now, but that's because we're getting glare on the sheet metal from these lights. But the effect it does on the marquee is pretty much what I was hoping for. So we'll tinker with it more, but so yeah, so that's those. Let's see, turn them off here. And like I said, this is the gasket. It's basically a gasket that wraps around the edge of sheet metal. So if you can kind of see that there. So that's just gonna, it just wraps around here on the sheet metal like that. And I cut strips a little long, so when I get all the way around, I'll trim it to fit. So I think I'm just gonna kind of start at the bottom, because that's the top corner there of the display. That's going to be against the wall. On that side will be against the wall. So I'll just start down here in the middle and work my way around. And like I said, I did this zip tie here to help just kind of lock everything down in place in case, because that's kind of the edge right where these other strips go through the hole. And just kind of, because it's the one that has the silicone coating on it, this one, it doesn't really do kind of tight bends very well. So the adhesive wants to just pull and not hold it down when you have a tight bend. So that's why I did the zip tie. So I just kind of drilled a couple holes to hold it in place. But once it's all on, you will not be able to see any of that. Part of the magic that happens underneath. Let's see here. There we go, kind of just jump the seam there. You can see how this, it kind of works out perfect. I put this down against this surface, and there's just a little bit of a gap between there and this rubber strip, so that kind of worked out just right. And there, see, I'm just about an inch or two long. So, and this doesn't have to be perfect either, just close. So there we go. And I gotta do the other side. But yeah, these gaskets are really cool. They make all kinds of different shapes, designed for different thicknesses of metal, or they use them on the edge of acrylic or glass too, for thicker stuff. See here. Okay. Okay, so there we go. We got both sides on. The other thing I was going to note here, maybe kind of hard to see back here on this edge. You can see a little bit of a glare. That's this inner piece that this LED strip's attached to. I have it inset from this edge, and that's basically from this surface here to this surface here is just a little bit larger than the thickness of the acrylic marquee that's going to go in here. So it'll sit down in there on this shelf, and then the other brackets that wrap around the edges kind of hold that in place. Similar to marquee on a game, same kind of idea. Let's see here. So I think next I'm going to do the color strip around the outside, and then we'll address the end here where the wiring needs to come through, because I have this other channel. This is the channel that goes all the way around the outside. It's the same piece on all four sides, except for I did the custom drilling on this. where the wiring comes out. So I think I may want to drill a couple extra holes in here, maybe a few, and I can use a zip tie for that also to just kind of tie down all the wiring in place to keep it all kind of neat and tight in here, because there's a huge gap from where the piece that's going to go around the outside of it. Okay, so here we got, this is the side that would be attached to the wall. This is the top section here. I may not be able to make out that hole I drilled there, just to help run all this wiring through. And it's basically going to go, so you can see there's the other corner of that. So this will kind of be something like that. And then all this wiring is going to route down inside this channel. And they all kind of wind up roughly around the same area for me to have all the other connectors that are going to go in here. So I think what I'm going to do is this other strip, this is the RGB one that's going to go around this is the top of the display. It'll go around the top, the front side, and the bottom. So I think I'm just going to kind of put this at roughly the same spot, somewhere around there, and then let's see, what's this one at? So yeah, probably right about there, be good. So I think I may want to just do a quick test and plug this one in, make sure it's working properly. And there's a witness mark there to line up. And let's see here. So it's this one here. So there we go. So it's doing the same color mode as what I had the other one set at. I'll have a different remote to run this, but I just want to make sure this is powered on and running. This one's the one, this is the kit that I'll be using for that outer strip, because this one has the different color mode settings and stuff, where this one's just more generic. It just says color, where this one you can actually select colors. So yeah, so last night was a interesting night. It was pretty fun. We were invited to a little get together at a local place. It's kind of a restaurant slash bar as part of a large bowling alley. It's all kind of new, a new construction place, not too old. So there was this cover band that basically played all 80s rock music. So, and they all get all dressed up and wearing long-haired wigs and stuff. It was pretty funny, you know, playing you know, Skid Row, Guns N' Roses, and their name of the band is Skid Roses. So maybe I'll show a little clip of that. I did film a little bit there last night. So
welcome the band that everybody knows, but no one can remember. Skid
Okay, so I think this is a good spot right here. And I'm going to try to leave the protective tape where I don't need it to stick down. That seems like a good spot. Right about there. So I'm going to try to keep this one, you know, as centered as I can. I think I'm actually going to, you know, it's the same thing here, but I'm going to stand it up so I can look down at it and see the angle. So I don't think I need to film this part. I'll just kind of cut to when I have it done. So, alrighty. Alright, so what I wound up doing was I got all the way around to the end, and see, these have trim lines on them every so often, and it was in the middle of a spot. It was like, you know, here or something, where I wanted to trim it. So I wound up taking it all, sliding it back, so I had a trim line near the edge. So this is going to be the bottom corner where from this edge the wire is going to come down going out to the power supply, which, you know, gives power to the display. So I'll probably actually drill a couple small holes here and zip tie this edge on also, just to make sure it doesn't separate, because just gravity over time this may want to separate. But yeah, so overall I think it's gonna come out pretty good. So you can see it just kind of goes around there, goes around the edge, but this whole side here is where the cavity is going to be that all the wiring comes down. So okay, on to the next step. Alright, so I wound up drilling and zip tying this stuff together, this bundle of wires that's coming down, and you can see how they're coming through here. I still have another zip tie here for the wires that are going to come up, just to kind of keep those together. Try to neaten it up, because this is the cover that's going to go over it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish up the wiring, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the screw gun to attach these on, and that'll get those threads started, or threads formed. Because the parts that are painted black, just in case, I want to try to prevent scratching anything. So I'm going to just, you know, put everything together in advance with this extra set, test fit, and have it all plugged in, make sure it's working. And then really my last step is getting the acrylic pieces around the perimeter. So really what I want to do is, this is the long cord here, this is the 10-foot length. I'm just going to have that to where it, let's see if I can pull it here. Not sure if you can see it here, where that just comes out the bottom, and then all the rest of these, all this bundle here, will be all tucked up inside. So that way these connectors here can be kind of tucked inside also, and you'll only see the one single thinner cord coming out the bottom, because I don't like having a big old bundle of wires coming out. But maybe I'll zip tie that in there like that to strain relief it. Maybe, I don't know. Trying to think about that. Or if I do these, if I zip tie that one in. Okay. A little struggling, I got it on there. So you can kind of see the wire down in there going through there. The head of the screw that's going to be on the wall that slots in there won't interfere with that. And there's nothing interfering down here on this one. So, and then this is where the wire will come out on the wall down here. So I think next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the marquee on, and I can slide it in from the one edge. This is the top. Let's see here. Scoot this over a little bit. So this is the top edge over here, top left corner. So I'll get the marquee in, and that's going to be the top side. And then I'll go ahead and assemble the rest of the frame on one side anyways. Okay. All right, I can't wait. I need to turn it on. Just see what it looks like. So we got 3 remotes here. So this one's so that's the outer red and the inner white. Now you can see like a weird glare on here. You don't see it as much with your real eye. It's not really color corrected here. I'll try to adjust a little bit, but so if I turn the brightness down to like 25%, so that's more like, so now it looks dim to my eye, but what you see on the camera looks more like what it is at 50%. Let's see here. And then there's the kind of glow effect on the inner ring. So it's kind of going from a red to a white. So, okay. And then the outer one, you can kind of see the glow coming over here. But all right, it's looking pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. Oops. There we go. Okay, here we go. So again, this looks kind of blown out, the brightness, because of the way the camera picks it up. So if I set this to like 25%, there's 50%. See how it looks blown out, but it doesn't look like that with your eyes. That looks totally blown out, and it still looks fine. But if I set it to 25%, and then I've got the lighting effect. I decided to try this with the color changing for the icons. So that seems to work pretty well. Kind of a neat effect there. And then here on the sides, again, this looks kind of blown out a little bit, but I think I'm going to go with a white acrylic on the inside, because as you walk off angle, you know, the strip gets out of alignment. So like there, it looks squared up nice, and then if you kind of go here, you'll see so I think if it's white, it'll kind of have an even glow, and then you can kind of see how the color bleeds through here. That's why I'm going to do some black silicone on here to cover that up once it's all finished assembled. And then here, there's another thing I needed to do. So the cable that's coming out, now that's strain reliefed in there, so it's tied in there pretty well. But what I want to do is just put a little bit of a notch here so this can sit flush to the wall, but it can go out the back like this if it was sitting on a shelf or something. But I think we're going to want to hang it on a wall, so yeah. So I'm pretty happy with it. So I think I'm actually going to run out to Lowe's or Home Depot and see if I can find some of that acrylic in a white, like a lighting white. If I can't, there's a couple local shops that I can get it cut at tomorrow if I really need to. So, but alrighty, cool. Okay, here we go. So again, this looks kind of blown out, the brightness, because of the way the camera picks it up. So if I set this to like 25%, there's 50%. See how it looks blown out, but it doesn't look like that with your eyes. That looks totally blown out, and it still looks fine. But if I set it to 25%, and then I've got the lighting effect. I decided to try this with the color changing for the icons. So that seems to work pretty well. Kind of a neat effect there. And then here on the sides, again, this looks kind of blown out a little bit, but I think I'm going to go with a white acrylic on the inside, because as you walk off angle, you know, the strip gets out of alignment. So like there, it looks squared up nice, and then if you kind of go here, you'll see it. So I think if it's white, it'll kind of have an even glow, and then you can kind of see how the color bleeds through here. That's why I'm going to do some black silicone on here to cover that up once it's all finished assembled. And then here, there's another thing I needed to do. So the cable that's coming out, now that's strain reliefed in there, so it's tied in there pretty well. But what I want to do is just put a little bit of a notch here so this can sit flush to the wall, but it can go out the back like this if it was sitting on a shelf or something. But I think we're going to want to hang it on a wall, so yeah. So I'm pretty happy with it. So I think I'm actually going to run out to Lowe's or Home Depot and see if I can find some of that acrylic in a white, like a lighting white. If I can't, there's a couple local shops that I can get it cut at tomorrow if I really need to. So, but alrighty, cool. Still got to cover this up. Kind of a neat effect, I'd say, if I do say so myself. So it stays white glowing inside, and then this one's RGB, just kind of flowing through colors. And then this looks kind of blown out, but it actually looks really good. The red, there's our red LEDs going all the way around there. And then we have color changing inside here also. Hard to get this camera angle right, but I just wanted to show it before I wrap it up and hit the road tomorrow. So pretty happy with how it came out. It was a lot of work. But it's really big, so we'll see how well it looks in the picture. The brightness is going to look a little blown out. Let's see if I can get this right here. So it probably looks way brighter on camera than it is in person. But yeah, it is really bright, but it doesn't. It looks much better in person, should I say? So. Here we go. We got the SlikkNikk Video Arcade. That's his logo for his YouTube channel. So I want to thank Vani, his wife, for working with me on this. She's been wanting to do this for a couple of years. So so have I. But we figured this would be a great chance to do this because we're doing the LA Hangout in a couple days here. So we're going to present this to him as a gift. So yeah, Vani, his wife, created the art and paid for all the marquee art. And then I just donated all my time and materials for the surrounding sheet metal part, custom design, all the LEDs and everything. So I'm really happy with how it came out. It's double-sided, so I don't know if you can see both sides. It's a little over 2 foot square. So we have color changing kind of decorative dots that go around the 3 sides, and then on the inside we have red LEDs that go around the interior of the square shape, and then there's color changing LEDs for the icons here. It can be set to specific colors if he wants to do only white, or it can do glowing, different features. I figured I'd just do this for the demo purposes. And then on the inside is just white LEDs, double row. So yeah, double-sided display. So it shows the same thing on both sides, and then all the color changing dots on the sides around the perimeter. This thing is a beast. I'd probably say this thing's at least 40 pounds all put together. A lot of metal. It's all aluminum, but there's a lot of aluminum there. So yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. Give me some comments in the feedback. But yeah, I'm looking forward to presenting this to Nick. I know he's going to really be stoked on it. He's got an awesome game room, and looks like he's got a good spot on the wall above the games that he can put this. So, all right. So there we go. SlikkNikk's Video Arcade Custom Marquee Display, double-sided. This is with my Gack built brand. I make this kind of stuff. So, all right. Arm's getting sore holding this thing. So, pretty cool, huh? Woo! Oh, I also want to mention, I do want to thank This Whole Game for getting this artwork out really fast for us. They do an awesome job, and they've always been very helpful for me when I need it. So, great job, guys. So again, I'm not sure how blown out this is going to look with the colors. I just wanted to show this. It does go through various colors on the perimeter. So it went blue, green, yellow, white, red. So, and then trying to get this to show the red better. It does seem to want to kind of blow it out. Love it. Yeah.
Computers are serious tools.
That's awesome.
So how often do you actually drive around? Maybe people take it to the grocery store.
That's awesome.
According to my projections, the source should be here within seconds.
Steps are coming. Step there.
We're gonna walk towards the red tent.
Look towards me, Ned.
Okay,
Listen to my voice.
You can open your eyes and you have to look that way.
Look at me. Look at me.
So, Nick, Bonnie, don't look back here.
Okay.
Bonnie and I have been working on something actually for 2 years.
2 years?
We didn't actually start it till like 2 months ago. But we've been talking about it for 2 years. And so we want to do something special for you because you've always been an awesome supporter of our, hobby get-togethers, supporting everything. So, hold on a second here. So we went ahead and designed and made this for you. Turn around.
Turn around.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So check this out. It's double-sided.
Wow.
Very nice.
And there's you can set different color modes, the color changing on the LEDs out here, and then same with this. You can do white or color changing. This is all red and there's white inside there.
Oh
A lot
my
of custom.
God.
This is like total custom one-off.
Yeah.
So
Guys,
hope you
this
like
is
it.
Amazing.
all right, round of applause.
Oh,
So, this guy is amazing. He hit me up and said, look, I know you've been asking me for 2 years.
It was after the Greenfest 5 one we did. She was like, you know, I'd really have to
I
make one for him for a surprise for his birthday or something. And I'm like, yeah, let me know what you want to do. And then we'd see each other 2 or 3 times a year, maybe twice a year, jacks and drinkers, right?
Yeah.
And then so when we knew this was happening, I was like, all right, decide by January. Let's get a design done. And then we'll give me a couple months to put this together. So
And
You know what's funny? I checked an email recently. We share an email inbox for work.
I told you.
yes.
And I saw this old game going to Rockland, and you're getting an email about that?
Yeah.
What is that all about? She goes, I'm working on something, don't worry about it. And I was like,
And that was the
let it go.
Yeah.
I could have never imagined
Yeah.
something like
I
that.
had to
She
use,
wanted to go big.
I had
So
to use Jathan's email.
Email.
Use my son's email.
she said she wanted it 2 foot by 2 foot, and I'm like, are you sure you really want it that big? She's like, we don't go small at the SlikkNikk conference. So yeah, so
You said it right. That is
So there's,
absolutely perfect.
Johnny.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
there's
God, I
colors.
love it.
I wanted to have kind of effects. I know your artwork
Yes.
on your YouTube.
Oh my God.
So there's different effects we can set with that, but that's just kind of
You
evil
did a
one.
little demo there,
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it right. I'll probably screw it up now that you brought it up. But there's 3 remotes. So because there's 4 strands of LEDs in here, and all the radio frequency controllers are all held in here. So you just have the small wire come out the bottom.
That's cool.
But it is got to be a pretty hefty power supply to do it all. So
Okay.
I'll let you figure that part out.
You just made some.
Let's see here, color. So I can change the color on that.
Oh, I knew you'd love that because you guys haven't seen our TV yet, but
Yeah,
he has the color changing
And the same with this on the sides here.
Yeah.
I can change that to, you know, blue, green. See, that's the thing it'll start doing. It crosses frequencies. But you can set blinking, you can do all kinds of
Look at
things.
how it does.
Just have fun with experimenting it, you know. So,
I just love that it does all that.
I know. And that was Chris. He was like, hey,
No.
let's change the colors on it.
Yeah.
Never use like remotes.
No.
oh, they're cheap. Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, I can set you up. I got the manuals over there too.
You know the frequencies and all that, then I suppose.
No, but I just set it up. The book's in there. Have at it, man. So we all love you, man. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you so much, guys, for having us.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
So now you have to figure out where to put the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll figure that out.
Awesome.
Top of the red
I'm floored, guys. I don't even know what to say.
Well, it's too
I think it
soon.
goes on the bridge.
Cool.
I
All
will
right.
see you guys getting stuff like this Steve at Drinkers and, you know, and well deserved, but I never would have imagined that I'd be getting something like this, because, I mean, I think this is
Well,
on
you
that
have to
level.
thank your wife. She bought
Yeah.
these. As you saw, there was an email from this little game. The rest I donated.
Don't worry
so.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Okay, so there we have it. We paired up Revision Hops in a Can. It's a triple IPA Northeast style with a custom display for SlikkNikk over at SlikkNikk's Arcade, SlikkNikk's Video Arcade. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got more subscribers than me, so most likely you guys are already subscribers to his channel. So anyways, good times. And yeah, so again, Revision Hops in a Can. It's a Northeast style triple IPA. So the alcohol level's pretty high up there, but oh man, it's smooth tasting, really delicious. So yes, and again, thank you to everybody that's out there. Gabby and James for hosting us the first night. That was really fun. I'm gonna have a pairing video with Gabby coming up next. So be on the lookout for that.